So you're bored with the standard tank build. You're looking for some excitement in your life. Well, you've come to the right place. Today we are making a fire staff tank build revolving around the Inferno fire staff. Is it a good thing to do? Probably not. Will it annoy your teammates? Most likely. Will they have fun? Definitely not, but you aren't playing this game for them. You're playing it for you. Okay, all jokes aside, I am not recommending you run this build in expeditions or in OPR or in wars or in invasions or in the raid or in the sandworm or really anything group related. All right, now that I've appeased my lawyer, let's jump into the build. Keep in mind, this is my creation. It isn't perfect, and I'm sure someone will let me know down in the comments below. This is a guide on a fun thing that I made and I wanted to share with you guys. I'm still playing as a tank, but I'm able to do some pretty good damage and I'm having fun. To start off the build, we'll begin with the Inferno Fire Staff. The key part of this weapon is inner power, and that states that if your strength attribute is higher, you replace your base weapon scaling with strength. In addition to that, you get an extra 15% damage when you hit a target within 15 meters. Of course, if you want to run a heavy equip load instead of a medium equip load like I'm running here, you'll notice that you get a 15% reduction in base damage in a heavy equip load. And running Inferno will let you not only run heavy armor, but will equalize that damage output. So it could be a fair trade if you'd like. But in addition to that, I did put a taunt gem on this, which I'm sure fire staff people out there will consider sacrilege, but I did that in order to make sure that I'm still maintaining aggro if I somehow get roped into doing group content with this build. Keenly Empowered makes sure that you get 10% in power if you do a crit. And then I believe Vicious is what the staff comes with. And I added Keen whenever I upgraded it to a 725 fire staff to be able to increase that crit chance. I'm running a generic sword on here. Doesn't matter. Just use something. Have fun. But I kept the taunt gem on there just in case I'm using this, as well as Keen makes my crit chance go up even higher. I've got lifesteal so that we are pulling off health for the damage that we are doing. And along with the blood drinker ring, we're also increasing our leeching so that we have a little more sustain. In addition, I put slash damage onto the blood drinker. That carries over from some of my tank builds that I had, which I'm using sword on those, but you can feel free to put whatever extra perk you would like on that. The amulet's nothing special, so run whatever you want. For the earring, I have Fortifying Toast, which lets me be able to drink a potion whenever I am in a sticky situation, and it also gives me that Fortify. For our armor, the key thing that you need for these is Enchanted Ward on as many pieces as possible, as well as some health. It also wouldn't hurt to have some extra conditionings, but it's not necessary. So feel free to run whatever you would like, as long as you've got Enchanted Ward and health on some of them. The main artifact takeaway for the armor is Featherweight. I run this so that I can maintain medium equip load, but honestly, if you're wanting to go all in on heavy, you might as well go ahead and throw some Void Plank on there. It wouldn't hurt. For the attributes of this build, I'm running 200 con, 50 into focus. That way, if we happen to be running in a group where somebody's laying down some additional healing, then we can get some additional procs off of that. The main thing here is 343 in strength, which I currently have a 48 point boost with some food. So this is normally sitting around 295 or so. But as is, we've got 1412 on our damage output for our fire staff and 1309 for our primary sword. So not looking too bad. With 200 con, we are sitting around 16,000 health, which on my normal tank build, I'm running around 26,000. So definitely about 10,000 less and a little bit of a concern, but you know, that's the point of this build, to have a little bit of fun. For this build, we are going to take Whirling Blade, Shield Rush, and Defender's Resolve as our abilities. So in order to take that, we will take Sturdy Shield so that we can then take Shield Rush and Defender's Resolve. Sturdy Grip is always good to have. Elemental Resistance is always a good one. Defensive Training is good to give us some additional Fortify while we are defending. Invigorating Bulwark is good whenever we hit our shield rush. We go ahead and get some extra stamina back. Recuperation is good for being able to sustain. And we'll take Final Countdown so that we can get Restoration. Final Countdown isn't bad. It gives us that 30% reduction in slows. But the Restoration is really what we want. Whenever we pop our Defender's Resolve, we get 30% health back after it is done. We will also take Defensive Formation on the Defender tree as our ultimate little tag down here. And when we come over to the Swordmaster tree, we will take Empowered Stab because we will be doing heavy attacks to maintain aggro if we are on our sword. And Freeing Justice isn't bad. We can lose a debuff if we hit with a heavy attack, so it's not bad to take that one as well. We'll take Precision to increase our crit chance. Counterattack will give us another way to get Empower, which is always good. And then lastly, on the Swordmaster tree, we will take Opportunist, and that gives us 10% more base damage against slowed enemies. And to end it all out, we'll come over here and take these last two perks under the Shield Rush. The most important one is Intimidating Rush. And when you connect with your Shield Rush, it applies a slow to everybody within 5 meters. So if you've got a clump of enemies, you're able to apply that slow. And then now you're doing an additional 10% damage against those enemies as well. So it's a good little combo there. And that's the current build that I'm running. I feel good with it so far. When it comes to the Fire Staff, first off, you'll notice I haven't fully upgraded it. I've got a couple more points that I need to go, but that's irrelevant. We get the main thing that we want out of this. And since we're primarily still using our sword, our Fire Staff is a backup. We're looking to be able to apply the most AoE damage so that we can then go back to our main weapon, which is our sword. And we can best do that by having Pillar of Fire, Meteor Shower, and Fireball as our 3 abilities. Meteor Shower lets us throw down an area of fireballs, kind of raining down from the sky, and then we can switch back while we're standing inside of that and continue using our sword. So it's an easy switch to it, use it, and then switch back. You will want to go ahead and add Grit to your Meteor Shower because that is a very easy one to get knocked out of. We'll tag Scorched Earth for Smolder, Catch, just in case we're able to hit the fireball. We'll go ahead and get it back faster. Clear Casting gives us a chance to gain Empower. Spellslinger gives us more crit chance. Clear Mind is another way for us to gain Empower, so it's not bad to take that. And a lot of these abilities, we're not going to be heavy attacking or light attacking, so you can skip over them. But anything that's going to give you an additional crit chance or apply Smolder or Empower is always a good thing to take. So we're going to take all of those in this tree. We'll hop over and grab Pyromania so we can deal an additional damage against anybody that's got Burn or Smolder. Let It Burn is not a bad way to be able to proc Fortify. And then Kindle is really good to be able to make our Smolders last longer. For our next 3 points, we definitely will want to grab Watch It Burn, Combat Speed, and Trial by Fire. And then you can end out either of the Pillar of Fire or Meteor Shower trees. Both of them can be argued for. I will be finishing out the Pillar of Fire, although I really would love to have Immolation. But that's me tiptoeing a little bit into PvP there, so we'll avoid that. But for now, that's a good start. And there you have it. That is the build. One note that I will add is if you are not able to have the Inferno Fire Staff right now, because the Imperium Forge is not the current mutation, there is a way to still play with a Fire Staff and work around that. And the way you can do that is by adding a sword that has a ruby, and that converts 75% scaling for intelligence on your sword. And then you can run a Fire Staff in your secondary. Again, I would recommend you have a Taunt gem on there. And if you've got the stopwatch to maybe be able to increase your aggro, or maybe even getting hated on a sword would be a good alternative. So that's like you have a Carnelian gem. And then what you can do is you can come in and instead of bumping all of these points into strength, you can pump all of these points into intelligence. And that will make it to where your sword will scale off of intelligence. And then of course your Fire Staff will scale off of intelligence. When I was first creating this build, that was what I was doing. But then I was lucky enough that Imperium Forge came out into the rotation and I was able to get the Inferno Fire Staff. There you have it. That is my recommendation for running Fire Staff in a tank build. Again, this is just a rough guide. Don't take it too seriously. But if you do have recommendations on how I could improve this build, please leave it down in the comments below. And if you have your own variations of this build, leave that down in the comments below as well.